Welcome to Talkin Business. I'm Joe Catrambone, CEO of the Martin County Chamber of Commerce, and it's my pleasure today to have Wes Harmon with the Elder Law Firm as my guest. And one of the things that impressed me, Wes, when I read a little bio, first of all, your firm does wills, trusts, asset protection, and tax planning.
That's right. All that stuff.
Probably missed something we can talk about in a minute.
Okay.
But the thing that I'm most impressed about, I think you might be the first sixth generation Floridian.
Right. There's not too many of us.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. Going back historically, a lot of my family was in the Arcadia area, and they were cattlemen and ranchers. And my mom is really big into the genealogy aspect of the family, and she's traced some of our ancestors back to Seminole Wars, and even before. So, I know
That's
it's
great.
A long time.
I love history.
Yeah.
And I love that, especially. I mean, there's things that you know and stories you could tell about Florida that people wouldn't even understand.
Yeah. Some
and
old family stuff.
Yeah, and obviously your family was. I mean, they were here with the Indians.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. There's one very, very quick family story that my granddad lied about his age to enlist in World War II.
Really?
And he was assigned to the armored cavalry. And coming out of Arcadia in the 30s and 40s, the first time he saw a tank, he asked the sergeant, "How do you fit a horse in there?"
I love it.
Yeah.
I wonder what the answer was.
Yeah. It's not easy.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So did you go to Martin County High School? Were you?
That's right. Palm City Elementary, Stewart Middle, Martin County High. Born and raised here, and yeah, been here ever since.
You're a true product.
Product of, yeah.
Product of.
All the possibilities and the limitations.
What are some of the and we'll get into your laws and things.
Sure.
What are some of the things that, I don't know, either disappointed you or impressed you, or that means something to you from when you were born here? And where'd you go to school, college?
University of Florida.
So you were in Gainesville and you came right back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So is there anything that, what stands out in your mind from when you were a pup to today?
Oh, wow. Good question. When I was a kid, there were a lot more frogs and a lot fewer birds. And now it's the other way around. We see a lot more birds, which kind of makes sense.
The birds are eating all the frogs.
Yeah. That's one thing that I always say. When I was little, sometimes the blue crabs would walk on the land, and you couldn't even see the streets.
Really?
It was just like
now these are blue crabs, or what do they call those other crabs?
Yeah, no, this is freshwater blue crabs right on the river.
Wow.
Yeah, where I grew up, and it looked like the whole earth was just crawling like a carpet.
Did you catch them and eat them?
No, they were not that kind of crab.
Oh, they're not.
Yeah. And now maybe I'll see one or two a year. So some stuff like that is, kind of makes you pause. But on the other hand, there's so many more opportunities now for our citizens to do stuff than there were back then. When I was a kid, there was nothing to do. And now we have the concerts and the shows and the fireworks and the new developments. And so, it's give and take.
What was the economy then? Was it mostly fishing, or?
Back then, it was still, sort of senior based, which is one reason why I've always had the interest, that I've had in the firm that I have now. A lot of people coming just to enjoy the warm weather. Back then, of course, before the orange blight and before greening, there were a ton of orange groves still, a lot of orange groves, a lot of sugar cane.
Oh, sugar cane!
Yeah.
I forgot about
Mm-hmm. Well, when I was a kid, my dad was a lawyer, and I remember him taking sugar cane in payment for cases. My mom didn't enjoy that too much, but I remember him coming home with truckfuls, a truck full of sugar cane,
Chickens.
oranges.
That's
You
like
know?
payment.
As payment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the way things operated back then.
There was a
That was
time,
not unusual. I've heard doctors that actually, in fact, one that I actually knew for many years would take eggs for payment or
Yeah.
groceries or whatever.
Right.
And
Right.
that's not too long ago. I mean,
Not too long ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the changes have been phenomenal, and it's just throughout the whole state. I can't imagine. I moved to Jacksonville in '68, so I've been in Florida for quite a long time.
Ah.
I go back to Jacksonville now, and I say, "Oh my God, what happened?" It was a big city. Incorporation hadn't happened yet,
Yeah.
but there was nothing there. And then I
Right.
moved to Titusville, spent 25 years in Titusville.
Oh.
And I moved down here in '89. So I got to see changes wherever I ended
Sure,
up,
sure.
and well, today change happen daily.
Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't take a generation for things to change anymore. Because things happen so rapidly with the internet and all of the other technologies. we
Very
have today.
true. Very true. Those types of changes can be tougher for maybe the families that are down here, and so that's one thing that we try to do in my practice, is try to help people set up for these changes. By making sure their documents are in line, by making sure the family members are involved with important decisions, and taking that longer view. A relationship with an attorney is not like a smash and grab type thing where you give one fee to somebody online, you never see him again.
No, it's a personal relationship.
It is between you and the next generation, and sometimes even more. And that's something that we take very seriously.
Yeah, there's so much fraud, and so seniors, the elder, what do they need to be careful of? What are the bumps in the road or the scams that they need to be aware
Oh
of?
boy, oh boy. I tell my clients and my family, if you get an email from somebody, don't click on it. If it's FPL saying that you have a bill, you go to fpl.com and pay that way. Don't click on the emails. Don't believe anything that anyone calls and tells you about. The IRS will never, ever make a phone call. And if you're not sure, then don't do anything, and go talk to somebody. Sometimes actually, the librarians, the Martin County Library System, I've seen them be very active and helpful with seniors who aren't sure about what to do with an email, or even some snail mail, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, that's what's called.
You can always call your CPA. They're very used to dealing with these things. Excuse me. Or an attorney, or an investment manager, or a banker. Reach out for help if you're not sure what to do. But at first, don't do anything. Just pause.
I got a. It's so funny. I got an email. I get a lot of emails, obviously, but I got an email the other day about somebody. I don't even remember all the details, but they wanted to send me $50,000 or something. like
Hey,
that.
all right.
So-
Congratulations.
So, I responded, and I showed my staff. I responded. I said, "Right now I'm busy unloading my turnip truck. Just send me a check." They wanted me to fill out a form and all that stuff.
Right.
They sent me back a response. They didn't even read it. I said I was
Of course.
working on my turnip truck.
Of course.
I responded, and I guess that triggered an automatic
Yep.
response back from them.
Right. From a script or
But
something.
it's so. Where do you find most of the fraud? Is it on the internet, or is it just a variety of places?
Yeah, there's a couple of sources that we like to try to be mindful of. The internet obviously is a big one. The great majority of the people that provide services to our seniors are trustworthy, and they are good. But I do sometimes have people who have suffered from abuse from the hands of people that they trusted and brought into their home, like home health care workers or yard guys or the pool guy or whatever it may be. And again, let me be very, very clear. The overwhelming majority of these helpers in our lives are helpful and necessary, but they can be a danger if they're not properly vetted. So I like to have my clients be comfortable with who they're choosing. But the worst, the saddest, is when the threat comes from inside the house, when other family members start to see an opportunity to get their name on a bank account or to get a loan that's never going to be paid back or things like that. And that's when I feel comfortable as an attorney stepping in saying, okay, everybody, let's all just make sure we know what we're doing here. And if after we talk, you still want to give this person $30,000, you know what, go for it. But now at least you know.
Yeah, do your due diligence.
Do your due diligence.
Yeah.
And then make your decision. But don't go into it blindly.
Where do you are most of your clients referrals?
Or most of the clients that I help with exploitation and fraud type thing, yeah, the great majority of them are referrals in.
Yeah, from a family member or a previous client.
Previous clients, other attorneys who don't practice in this precise area, CPAs, investment managers or bankers. Because those are the people that start to see the funny things start to happen. You know, your banker's going to see that all of a sudden, now you're giving a $10,000 check to someone that you've never mentioned before, you know? Or your investment manager, now you're giving $10,000 to somebody I've never heard of. Maybe we should start to look at this.
Yeah, and you know what's a shame is because of technology, so many people don't have that relationship anymore because they do so much stuff online that they don't have that personal relationship with people. And I try, I try to. I'm not a big online guy. I don't pay my bills online. I still write checks.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, yeah, and if people say, wait, you're mailing checks? Yeah, I mail checks. I write a check.
Sure.
I do some automatic stuff, but from people I know can trust, utilities and things of that nature. How many, are you by yourself or you have other attorneys in your firm?
There are two other attorneys. A gentleman named Mike Fowler, who is of counsel now, and he's trying to fully retire, but I'm not quite going to let him. And then my partner, Nicholas Castellanos, who's an excellent, excellent partner, and we do very high volume, high quality practice.
Where's your office?
Main offices are Fort Pierce and Stewart, and we have satellites in Okeechobee and Vero and Port St. Lucie.
Oh, really? So you're all over the place.
Gotta go where the action is.
Yeah. What's your most active office?
Fort Pierce, definitely.
Yeah, it's a bigger area too, right? Population-wise.
Well, boy, it's hard to say these days. Port St. Lucie is growing so
Oh,
quickly.
yeah, it is. I just saw something in the paper. It's becoming one of the top 5 fastest growing cities in the United States.
I would have no doubt.
Yeah. I can remember back in the 80s and early 90s when we would send people to Port St. Lucie to live.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't afford to live in Martin County. Well, they've, I think, surpassed us. We're now telling people, look, you may have to look at Okeechobee.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just phenomenal. The growth is incredible.
Very true.
And it's incredible, and I hear it all the time as a chamber exec. Why do you stop bringing all these people here? Look at the traffic. I said, listen, it's attrition. From 80 to 90, I use this example. From 80 to 90, we went from 50,000 to 100,000 people. We doubled our population.
Okay.
From 1990 to today, we've grown less than 2% a year. Per year.
Okay.
That's fact. It's documented. So we're not in unbridled growth. It's just attrition. You can't stop people from moving here.
Sure.
It's like I said, it's attrition. Several years ago, I'm sure you're familiar with our comprehensive land use management plan.
I am.
Okay. And so infill was always an issue that I looked at. And we were very close to achieving infill. There were a few pockets here and there, and I wanted to know what would happen when we ran out of developable land in the urban service area. And nobody could answer that question locally here. I went to Tallahassee because I was concerned that there's nobody in Martin County that I'm aware of, especially elected people, who are willing to move the urban service boundary. That's like a death kiss, the death wish.
It's tough.
Okay? So what my concern was is that the governor or whoever would appoint a committee of 5 people and they come down here and say, here's where your urban service goes, urban service area should be. Anyway, I actually went to Tallahassee, met with I can't remember the department at the time, it's changed now, but they actually told me that it would be a legal action. So that if you were a property owner and you wanted to develop over the urban service boundary, you would have to go the legal route to move that urban service area.
Yeah, I can understand that, especially with the South Florida Water Management District involved in all these decisions. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. So,
And yet we're growing nonetheless, and that's something that we're seeing in our practice. The volume of calls, even over the past 2 years, has gone up dramatically from new people coming in, and they're starting to say, now that I'm a Florida resident, do I need new documents? Do I need to re-examine my plan? And I would say, well, it can't hurt. It can't hurt. Maybe everything that you did when you were in Connecticut or New Hampshire or New York, it could still be fine. Or it could be something that we have to look at again. And that's very common.
Because things do change legislatively.
The laws change, family items change.
And most people don't even know about it.
Oh, of course.
They don't,
No reason for them
yeah,
to keep
exactly.
track of it.
Yeah.
It's sort of our job.
Yeah. And even people who, surprising me, people who are even involved, they didn't know a law changed or a requirement changed. They just don't keep up with it. Nobody reads newspaper anymore.
Yeah, that's certainly true.
So if it's not online, I guess, I still get the newspaper because I like the sports page and the crossword puzzles.
Sure.
But it's really, what's on the front page of the newspaper, I saw in the 11 o'clock news the day before.
Yeah.
So I get, so that.
Because things are moving so fast these days.
Absolutely. With
They really are.
technology, it's just amazing how, like I said, daily, things are changing. Yeah.
It is. And I find that a family can keep up with those changes and changes to itself. New kids, new grandkids, dissolutions of marriage, new marriages, deaths in the family, whatever it may be. All of that stuff can be worked into and contemplated into a standard estate plan. So the thing that I hear most commonly when people come to me, almost every time, seriously, is this was so much easier and quicker than I thought. Because it gets built up in your mind as such a big deal. And it is a big deal, but that doesn't mean that it's hard. That doesn't mean that it's unapproachable. The type of planning that most family needs can be very quick, easy, and usually very affordable. That's something else I hear. I thought this was going to cost more. And I'm happy to say usually it doesn't.
Yeah, the first thing people hear is the attorney's fees or,
Sure.
It scares them off.
Sure.
Is there any mechanism, is there anything that people could do to be plugged into legislative changes, things of that nature? Is there an agency that I'm not aware of? Is there, how could the normal, everyday Joe citizen try to stay in tune with especially financial matters or real estate matters that could affect their their kids when they're leaving on properties and things of that nature?
That's a very good question. A lot of different professionals, including our office, give free informational or educational seminars, oftentimes at the library, sometimes at different care facilities, or in our case, libraries and different places around in Stewart and Port St. Lucie. And every 2 weeks, my office gives, and me personally, I give a seminar on the core documents that you need and anything that might have changed within the past couple years that might make you want to revisit your plan. So I think maybe the best way to go about that is just to look out either on Facebook for a firm like mine, or on our website, etelf as in Frank.com, where we commonly post newsletters. We post informational items on changes that might be of interest, and also we advertise when our talks are going to be, so people can come and not just read and not just make it a one-sided thing, but ask me questions. I always open it up and I say, there are things that I want to tell you, but I also want to hear from you. I want to hear what's on your mind, give you the most information and the most comfort that I can.
So how do you get the word out? Do you do it just to your clients, or do you put it on Facebook, or you?
We put it on Facebook. We advertise in local papers and little penny saver magazines, and we rotate different areas of the county with postcards. And sometimes people will come to me and say, "I've had your postcard on my refrigerator for 3 years," and I finally called.
Well, it wasn't
Hey,
always.
There you go. There you go. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Every way we can.
Well, that.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we tune off here, is there anything we missed that you might want to talk about?
No, I think this is very good for people to know where the resources are, and to know that you can come to people like me who have been here for a long time and are going to be here and want us all to be safe and happy.
Great.
Thank you,
Again,
sir.
thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Okay.